The CBS interview with Prince Harry, conducted by Jane, quickly spiraled into an unexpected and intense confrontation over the issue of royal titles. What was meant to be a discussion about Harry's life in America following his departure from royal duties turned into a tense, uncomfortable moment as Harry's frustrations boiled over. From the very start, tensions emerged when Jane addressed the Duke informally as Harry instead of Your Highness. Harry, visibly unsettled by the casual approach, responded with a palpable sense of irritation. His royal title, he argued, was a fundamental part of his identity, and being stripped of that recognition felt like an attack on his status. Despite stepping back from royal duties, Harry was insistent that his title still held importance. At one point, his frustration mounted to such an extent that he appeared on the verge of walking off the set. The interview continued, but with every instance Jane referred to him as Harry, the atmosphere grew increasingly uncomfortable. Harry's body language spoke volumes. He flinched and visibly bristled, as if each informal mention of his name was a direct affront to his dignity. The undercurrent of tension only deepened when Jane referenced his infamous interview with Oprah Winfrey, where he had spoken out about the royal family's alleged racism. That mention seemed to open the floodgates. Harry exploded, accusing Jane and the interview of being biased and disrespectful. The bitterness in his tone was unmistakable, and he lambasted the media for constantly framing him in a negative light. His accusations were sharp, particularly around the sensitive issue of racism, which he felt was being used against him unfairly in the public narrative. Throughout Harry's outbursts, Jane remained remarkably composed. Her calm demeanor in the face of escalating tension was praised by viewers, though her steadfast approach in not acknowledging Harry's title further aggravated the situation. As she transitioned to lighter topics, trying to steer the conversation back on track, Harry's initial fury lingered, his mood vacillating between agitation and strained attempts to maintain composure. As the interview aired, it became clear that Harry's reactions were going to dominate the post-broadcast discussions. Social media quickly lit up with a wave of criticism. Viewers accused Harry of entitlement, questioning why he clung so fiercely to a title that he had, in many ways, chosen to leave behind. Some expressed concern about his mental state, particularly given the ongoing public feuds with his family. His behavior was interpreted by many as an inability to reconcile his new life in the U.S. with the lingering attachments to his former royal identity. The public backlash was swift and brutal. Online commentators and media outlets zeroed in on Harry's apparent need for validation and respect, even as he sought to establish an independent identity away from the royal institution. The optics of the situation were not favorable. Harry, who had advocated for breaking free from the oppressive nature of royal life, was now perceived as unable to let go of the very privileges he claimed had constrained him. For Harry, this incident could have significant implications for his public image in the U.S., where he and Meghan have been working to build a brand independent of the British monarchy. The tension surrounding his title, coupled with his public outbursts, may raise questions about his ability to adapt to life outside the royal family, particularly if his sense of identity remains so closely tied to his former royal status. Ultimately, the interview underscored the complexities Harry faces in navigating life post-royalty. While he seeks to establish himself and his family outside of the royal shadow, his reactions during the interview suggested that severing ties to his past is not as straightforward as he might have hoped. The incident left many wondering, can Harry truly step away from the monarchy, or will his royal roots continue to anchor him, even in the life he is trying so hard to build anew?